It is my pleasure to introduce the Washington University Amateurs, a student-run co-educational a cappella choir who will be singing the university alma mater. A copy of the lyrics is on the back of the Convocation program. Please rise and remove your hats for the singing of the alma mater. Ladies and gentlemen, the Washington University Amateurs.
Dear alma mater, thy name is sweet to me. Our hearts are all for thee, fair Washington. Thy hall shall honored be throughout this great country for all eternity. Our Washington. Those days of youth which all of us spent with thee form a dear history, fair Washington. Could they renew it be, we'd live our days with thee for all eternity, our Washington.
How about another round of applause for the amateurs? Good evening. How is everyone this evening? My name is Lori White, and I am the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs at Washington University. It is my pleasure to welcome the class of 2020, students joining the class of 2019 and 2018, and exchange students. Welcome to all of you and to all of the family members who have joined us here today. Now, in a former life, I used to be a cheerleader. So I love hearing all the chants and cheers representing the various residential colleges. However, since we are all here to celebrate our newest Washington University Bears, how about we start off this convocation by showing our Wash U spirit? So this side, you're gonna be go, and this side, you're gonna be Bears, and on the count of 3, when I point to your section, I wanna hear really loudly, go Bears. Y'all got that? All right, 1, 2, 3. Now that's more like it. I love it. And those of you who I spot on campus wearing Wash U swag, you'll get a card that's good for a free cup of coffee on me. And those of you whom I sport wearing swag from another school, well, you better just hope I don't catch you doing that. Now, last year, I too was brand new to Washington University, having joined the university in the summer of 2015. But this year, I am a mighty sophomore. So first-year students, I know a little bit more about Washington University than you do, but not a whole lot more. So like you, I'm still dependent upon upper-class students like the WUSAs for advice about how to best navigate all the wonderful things that Washington University and the City of St. Louis has to offer. As the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, my role is to work with my colleagues across the campus community to ensure that your transition to Washington University is smooth and seamless. All of us at WashU, your professors, academic advisors, the deans in your academic schools, coaches, administrators, and staff, RCDs, RAs, and WUSAs, look forward to getting to know each of you by name and by story. And as you begin your life at Washington University, you'll receive advice from many of us about how to ensure that your time at Washington University is successful and that you're able to realize your hopes and dreams for your college education. So my advice is simple. Number one, pursue your passion. Not that kind of passion. You might indeed pursue that kind of passion here, but that's not my responsibility. I mean, pursue your academic passion. Find a field of study that you're excited about and resolve to put all of your time and energy into being an engaged and intellectually curious student. Secondly, develop a wide circle of friendships while you are here. WashU has students from all 50 states and from many countries around the world. Your education will be enriched by learning something from someone who has grown up in a neighborhood that is different from your own. And finally, keep everything in perspective. I'm reminded of a letter a first-year student wrote to her parents, telling them all about how she broke her leg jumping from her residence hall balcony due to a fire, moved in with a boyfriend that was the same age as her parents, and found a new religion to explore a whole new way of life. Turns out nothing in the letter was true, but the student had received her first semester grades, which were 2 A's, a B, and a D. And she wanted her parents to keep everything in perspective. Speaking of perspective, this past summer has been a trying time for our nation and the world as we have witnessed and experienced tragedy at home and abroad. We will gather as a university community at 4 p.m. on Monday in Graham Chapel for a program titled Reflections, Unity, Social Justice, and Peace. I hope you will plan to join us as we gather to reflect upon our commitment to be a community of mutual respect, tolerance, civility, and caring for one another. Now, advice aside, my most important role this evening is to recognize those individuals who are most responsible for the planning and implementation of the Bare Beginnings program. First, the staff of the First Year Center, Catherine Pay and Andrea Farnan. The two of them have worked closely all summer with the First Year Executive Board to plan an amazing Bare Beginnings program for all of you. The First Year Center, located right on the South 40, stands ready to assist you with locating resources, finding opportunities, and connecting you with people, places, and possibilities. Next, I'd like to introduce the Student Executive Board. This incredible group of student leaders has worked countless hours to ensure that your welcome to Washington University is one that is warm, informative, and fun, and one that sets you up for success as a WashU student. The members of the Executive Board and the residential and student communities to each which is assigned are the following: Chris Edwards, Doughton Hurd and Myers, Emily Erickson Lean, Aisha Hurry Singhani Elliott, Sophia Joyson Umrath, Lauren Molina Lebo, Gavin Rakoff Koenig, David Rosso Park, Tori Scordato, transfer and exchange students, Kirsten West Danforth, and Jane Zankman Dardick. How about a collective round of applause for these amazing student leaders? Now it is both my privilege and a pleasure to introduce you to your Student Union President, Kenneth Soong. Kenneth is a senior from Singapore studying economics and mathematics in the College of Arts and Sciences, and he is double majoring in economics and mathematics with a minor in writing. He is our very first international student to be elected student body president. And our student body president oversees the student union, which organize a number of great and incredible events for students on campus. With over 150 active officers, Student Union strives to serve and empower every undergraduate student to be a force for change and improvement. And in addition to serving as the president of Student Union, Kenneth is also a resident advisor for the Lofts, so he's pretty busy. Kenneth is passionate about public service, and he interned in the Singapore Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Finance, and in the office of the Mayor of St. Louis. But one of Kenneth's favorite stories to tell is how he finally got his driver's license after failing the driving test 6 times over the span of 5 years. Now, the city of St. Louis tried hard to keep him off the roads, but he is now a licensed driver. Kenneth's story of finally getting his driver's license is a wonderful example of the power of resilience and Kenneth's great sense of humor. Washi was so fortunate to have this outstanding and accomplished student leader as our student union president. Please join me in welcoming Kenneth Soong to the podium.
Thank you very much, Dr. White. Thank you. I've been instructed to inform you that for the safety of our distinguished guest students and parents, I will not be driving for the next few days. So, yep. But you have to get your U-Pass afterwards. Once again, a warm welcome to the new transfer and exchange students and the class of 2020 as you begin your journey at Washington University. I'm honored to serve as your student body president in the coming year and to serve as tonight's Master of Ceremonies. Before I introduce the next speaker, I'd like to offer my little secret to mastering success in college. It is to first master failure. Because if my experience is any indication, college is just as much about learning how to succeed as it is about learning how to fail. And I'm not talking about the failure to wear matching socks to classes. I checked my socks. I'm talking about the failure that will strike you hard, break your confidence, and scare you into never trying again. What you choose to do in that moment is what truly defines you as a person. Because let me tell you a little secret. While the rest of the world might see you for your successes, it is your failure that truly defines who you are. So promise me that when that fateful day arrives, you'll find strength and courage to try just one more time, or 6 more times. Because sometimes it's really that one additional attempt that changes your entire life. It is now an honor to introduce to you our first speaker of the evening. Mark S. Wrighton assumed the duties of Chancellor at Washington University in St. Louis, following over 2 decades at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he was professor of chemistry and later provost. Since Mark Wheaton's arrival, Washington University has made unprecedented progress in terms of academic curriculum, campus improvement, resource development, international reputation, and particularly in undergraduate applications and student quality. Student quality. It is a pleasure to introduce to you Chancellor Mark S. Wrighton, the 14th Chancellor of Washington University in St. Louis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. It's really wonderful to see this outstanding group of students joining us. Like many of you, and like your parents and family members, the day began for me pretty early. 7:30, I was at the clock tower on the South 40, having already taken my morning walk with our golden retriever. And after I encouraged and stimulated the WUSAs and the RAs and others involved in making the move-in experience rewarding, I went over to the Bear's Den and I sat down with a group of students and had a cup of coffee and a discussion. And they raised to me a deep, profound, philosophical question. Is a hot dog a sandwich? So I took their photograph and I tweeted out a question. Is a hot dog a sandwich? And I invited people to either retweet for a yes or a like for a no. And I should share with you the result. 3-1. A hot dog is not a sandwich. Our students are very engaging. I enjoyed that interaction, and I hope that I have the opportunity to interact with many of you on major issues that we confront in our society. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's @ChancellorWU. Twitter is a company founded by St. Louisan Jack Dorsey. We're proud that we're in St. Louis, and we're proud that we've recruited great student leaders like Kenneth, those who've been introduced, and like the class of 2020. Welcome. Also, welcome to students who are transferring from other colleges and universities, and welcome also to family members and friends of our new students. You're now all members of the Washington University family. I know there are parents, other family members, and friends of our new students watching at the Danforth University Center, May Auditorium, and Graham Chapel. Thank you all for being with us, and I look forward to seeing you later in Brookings Quadrangle. All the students here at the conclusion of this program will process to the quadrangle, so parents and family members, friends, will all gather there at the conclusion of this congregation. Let me now address our new students. You've been admitted to Washington University because you have the potential to be leaders in this, the 21st century. We are experiencing regional, national, and international challenges that we must address together. One only has to read the headlines to know about some of the challenges, from the Zika virus as a public health crisis, to the terrible tragedies from gun violence, to natural disasters such as floods, earthquakes, tornadoes, and fires, to social injustices stemming from poverty, lack of educational opportunity, racism, and health disparities. And there are major challenges associated with providing the energy we need without environmental consequence. We have issues related to providing the food and water that a growing global population will need. And there are problems with the aging population of the world, medical problems like Alzheimer's disease and others. Our students will be involved in addressing these and other domestic and international challenges. Our students are making our world a better place already through their creative works in art, design, music, dance, through their scholarship in the humanities and social sciences, and through their innovations in science, engineering, and business. I'm confident that our students will be the leaders of this century to help all of society. I know this because the achievements and interests of our students already show their ability and achievement. Our mission at Washington University is to add to your potential to fulfill your promise. We're grateful to all of you for making the commitment to become a part of our community. All of us at the university pledge to do our best to help you realize your potential and to provide the education you need to become effective leaders, whether that is to be a Nobel Prize winner, a corporate CEO, a United States Senator, or a great artist like students who have preceded you. In fact, I tweeted out another photograph today, the new sculpture on the South 40 by alumnus Tom Friedman. I hope you enjoy it. All of you can develop understanding of the challenges we face and create new knowledge that will enable you to help our world become better for all humankind. You are the next generation of leaders this world needs. Tonight, you can begin asking yourself this very important question: what can I do? Your class includes about 1,780 students and was selected from a large and talented applicant pool, and you come from all 50 states, U.S. territories, and 25 countries. About 2/3 of you come from greater than 500 miles. We're proud of the diversity you represent in every dimension. You've excelled in your lives in many ways, from academics to athletics, from theater to public service. We encourage you to continue the interests you developed earlier in your lives. Now for a few words to the parents. We thank you for supporting your sons and daughters in their decision to attend Washington University. We share your interest in having your students enjoy success and happiness, and we are your partners in assisting them to realize their dreams of a great college experience. Like the students, you are now a part of this community, and we welcome your engagement. I look forward to meeting many of you at the reception that I will host tomorrow afternoon at our Mildred Lane Kemper Art Museum. Now back to the students. While your parents will continue to play an important role in your lives, you should feel free to call on any member of this community as a resource. Indeed, you've already been ably assisted by those who've been introduced, our WUSAs and other student leaders, our resident advisors. Let's give them another round of applause for their great work. Thank you. The stage principals who joined me this evening symbolize the many people in the university who guide the academic enterprise and play a role in fulfilling the mission of the university, fostering its improvement and building benefits for society. Over the course of our history, it has been the people who have made our university great. We are fortunate to have many leading faculty who take seriously both education and knowledge creation that comes from their research, often in collaboration with our students. Aside from academic programs, you're going to have many exciting opportunities, including athletics, seminars, performances, and social events. There are several hundred student groups, and I encourage you to become involved, but these will involve a commitment of a precious commodity, time. With respect to how you spend your time, however, things have changed dramatically starting tonight. Just a few months ago, most of you were in high school with a relatively structured and controlled schedule. Tonight, you begin a new phase of your life with more independence and freedom, but with that freedom comes responsibility. Beginning immediately, you will have many choices to make. As you make your decisions, it's my hope that luck will be with you. However, it was the great scientist Louis Pasteur who observed that chance favors the prepared mind, and you must do all that you can do to recognize an important opportunity and then to evaluate whether it is one you wish to pursue. We're confident that you can do well and be successful, but realize that your success will depend on making good decisions. Regarding time commitments, the new freedom you have means you are no longer under anyone's supervision. Your parents are no longer responsible for you. Oh, by the way, except for the tuition checks, thank you. Students, you have responsibility for yourself. There will be no one to tell you when to go to bed or even to go to bed or when to get up. No one to tell you to make your bed. No one to tell you to eat your vegetables. No one to govern your comings and goings. You will be the one to decide who your friends will be and whether to join a Greek organization, and you will be the judge of when and whether to accept advice from others. You should enjoy your new independence, but there are also important responsibilities beyond those to yourself. You remain responsible to those who've made it possible for you to be here, your parents, other family members, teachers, coaches, religious leaders, and your friends. Much trust and confidence has been placed in you, and it is your responsibility to provide a good return on that investment. The excellence of students and faculty of the university defines us. For many, this may be the first time you've been surrounded by so many high achievers like yourself. In these early days, you may be a bit intimidated by the fact that your classmates are as smart and accomplished in their area of interest as you are in yours. Personally, I had those very same feelings when I began my PhD at the California Institute of Technology. And later, I felt the same when I joined the faculty as a newly minted PhD when I came to MIT. I believe these feelings are natural, but as I ultimately discovered, and you will too, you are not in competition with your classmates. Your own goals should be your guideposts. The university is now 163 years old, and much has happened since our founding in 1853. But through all the changes, there are important constants. Most important, we live in a community. Here at Washington University, our community is special, and we must work together to keep it so. As the next generation of community members, it is my hope that you will contribute to sustaining this mutually supportive community. The weeks ahead are going to be exciting ones in connection with the presidential and congressional elections. We're privileged to host the second of 3 presidential debates. This very site, this athletic center, is the location of the televised debate, which will take place on Sunday, October 9th. A university is a place where we welcome and value new ideas and different perspectives. Discussions of the issues that challenge us will draw out new approaches to solving them, and such discussion will doubtless result in some disagreement. But we must embrace a commitment to free expression, even though from time to time we may be made to feel uncomfortable by what we read or what we hear. America is a strong democracy, and we are a community that can debate the issues with the understanding that not all views will be ones that we would embrace. I invite all of our students to engage in this election season. We will have many special events leading up to the presidential debate, and if you are eligible, I strongly urge you to register to vote and to be active on November 8th, Election Day. The interest in the political season in the United States has been heightened by both domestic and international issues. Just over the summer, we've been challenged by the massacre at the gay nightclub in Orlando, terrorist acts abroad, natural disasters, and by difficulties with policing and the challenges our police are facing. As we begin the fall semester, as Dr. White has noted, we're going to gather together to affirm our community values and to reflect on the opportunities for improving social justice and bringing peace. I hope that you will take time at the end of your first day of classes on Monday to participate in this program that begins at 4 o'clock in Graham Chapel. As I conclude my remarks, I want to give you some important advice and convey one great expectation. First, the advice. Number one, go to class. You or your parents or others are paying a great deal for you to have the opportunity to be here. Take full advantage of our educational program. Number two, do not abuse alcohol or other drugs. The legal age for drinking in Missouri is 21 years, and I need to remind you that we are not in Colorado. None of us can exercise good judgment when intoxicated, and what we know is that alcohol abuse is associated with adverse consequences academically and is a factor in 90% of campus crime. Most of your peers will be making wise choices about alcohol, and the vast majority of our students drink moderately, if at all. Students, I challenge you to make wise choices during your college years. Make decisions that will have a positive impact on you personally and on the university community. Third bit of advice, lead lives of integrity. The motto of Washington University is per veritatem vis, strength through truth. Be honest in all that you do. Be conscientious in what you undertake, and take seriously your responsibilities to yourself, your friends, your community, and to your family. Now my great expectation. Always show respect for others, both on campus and in the community around us. We are a diverse campus where we can learn from our differences and grow to appreciate each other as individuals. Lively debate of the issues we face will doubtless occur, and certainly there will be difference of opinion among us. But there is no room here for racism, harassment, or discrimination. Respect for one another remains one of our most important community values. You have my wish and my support for your success at Washington University. I'm privileged to serve as your chancellor. Class of 2020, you have the clear vision I look forward to our work together to realize your vision for your college years and beyond. Thank you very much. Thank you. We depend on a number of people to provide input in terms of helping us improve our university. And we have engaged a group of parents as an advisory council. And this evening, it is my pleasure to introduce two members of the Parents' Council, Clarissa and Brad Wyrick, members of our council from Los Angeles, California. Their son, Clayton, is a senior in the College of Arts and Sciences, and their daughter, Madeline, is a member of the class of 2020. And while Clarissa and Brad have been especially involved with Washington University community since Clayton arrived on campus, their family's connection extends back more than 6 decades. Clarissa's mother, Paula Clayton, was one of 4 women to earn her medical degree from Washington University School of Medicine in 1960. We appreciate Clarissa and Brad's enthusiasm We appreciate their enthusiasm and dedication to making a great education available to all of our students. I would like you to join me in thanking Brad and Clarissa for coming forward to make remarks this evening. Brad, Clarissa.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Wright. This is obviously a very exciting and stressful time for students and their families, and we are very honored to be asked to speak on such an important night. First of all, I want to say congratulations to you students for everything you've achieved to get yourselves into this incredible university. And congratulations to the parents for raising some of the most talented and obviously passionate students in the entire country. And we also want to be brief to avoid keeping you all here too long. As the Chancellor mentioned, this is our second convocation here at WashU. We dropped off our middle child, Clayton, in 2013, and we're dropping off our third child, Maddie, tonight. Clarissa and I live in Los Angeles, but over the years we've established a very special bond with St. Louis and with WashU. And for Clarissa, it's also a little bit like homecoming since she was raised in St. Louis before going off to college herself. And by the way, in case you're wondering, she's a Dodger fan now. So she's fortunately broken that one tie with St. Louis, but it's still like homecoming for her. But as we thought about this speech, we thought it was sort of funny that they'd ask parents dropping off a third child to talk to you all about the whole dropping off process and the stresses you're all facing. Because you know how it is with the third child. You know, we all stress about our first child. And with the second child, we kind of know the ropes. And by the time the third child rolls around, it's kind of like, whatever. Maddie, are you going to college this week? We don't even have it on the calendar. But maybe getting that perspective from parents dropping off a third child is part of the point. By now, we feel like we've seen just about everything, and we've been through a lot of tough goodbyes. And what we've learned over all these years is that in spite of the initial angst and the occasional homesickness, the kids always seem to settle in just fine.
And so now I'm going to take a moment to give advice to the parents in the room, all of you guys up there. I guess first, just relax and let go. This is an amazing university, and your students are in incredibly good hands. As you will discover, WashU is committed to providing its students with resources and support they need to succeed, from the first-year center to advisors and tutors. Your students are in great hands, and that should give you peace of mind. Your students will quickly make new friends, they'll get settled in, and they will find their way, as long as you stay out of their way. It's a difficult task as parents to let go, but our best advice is to provide support when requested, but otherwise to step back and have faith that the wonderful adults you've raised, young adults, will find their way and strive. Second, stay in touch with the campus. Based on our experience, WashU is truly unique in its level of communication with parents. In the coming months and years, you'll receive lots of information about the activities and choices that are relevant to your student, in addition to general updates and news about the university. Make sure that WashU has your current email address so you'll receive regular correspondence. And we encourage you to sign up for the family newsletter, parents newsletter, Family Ties, that provides helpful perspective on what's happening on the campus with your kids. Finally, please take advantage of the orientation events this weekend, including a great seminar for parents tomorrow morning called Letting Go, Staying Connected, and a preview of the first year. That's, I think, tomorrow at 9. And then, of course, we hope you'll come back in October for Parent and Family Weekend to see how well your kids are doing. Finally, we'd like you to consider how you can become involved with WashU, as the university actively seeks to partner with parents in a variety of ways. Please think about how your time and expertise could benefit our students, whether it's through providing internships or jobs, or volunteering for the Alumni and Parents Admissions Program to help recruit and welcome students in your area. Brad and I have become involved with the university, and it's been very rewarding to get to know more about WashU, meet faculty, and interact with other parents.
So I have a little advice for the students. I know you're going to get a lot of advice tonight, but I'll give you some of mine anyway. First, try new things. Now that may sound incredibly obvious or incredibly simplistic or both, but what I mean by that is use your time here to find out what your passions are. Don't just go to class, join a club or create a club. It's great if you want to be a doctor one day, but what I think you might ask yourself is, what else do you want to do with your life? There is absolutely no better time in life than the next 4 years to gain a perspective on the world and to find out what your passions are. Like a lot of people, when I look back at my college experience, I regret not spending more time on all the stuff going on outside of the classroom. So try not to have those same regrets yourselves. Second, take risks. Look around at this incredible campus. This is probably the safest, most nurturing place you will ever be in your entire life. It's a place where you can try new things and maybe fail at some things. And unlike in the real world, if you try something here and fail here, there really aren't any major consequences. So take advantage of that. Now, I'm not talking about being cavalier about the classes you take or the grades that you get. I'm talking about the activities you pursue and the friends you make. I'm talking about the diversity of experiences and worldviews that a world-class university like WashU offers you. So please don't let these 4 years go by just staying in your comfort zone. Don't let these fantastic years pass you by just learning about economics or biology. Use this time to truly expand your horizons. And lastly, show respect. As Chancellor Wright said, this is probably the most important thing. In your time here, remember that a great institution like WashU, one of its core principles is respect for others. And respect isn't just about being polite. Respect is learning about the different worldviews and perspectives of your classmates and appreciating and respecting those differences. Respect also means looking out for your classmates and not just standing by passively if one of your classmates is in trouble. It means stepping up and helping them out, just like you'd expect them to help you out. So, you students in the class of 2020 are bound together as a class forever. So I'd ask you to remember that, respect each other, look out for one another, and treat each other like family. So, congratulations again to the students for getting yourselves here, and congratulations to the parents for making it all possible. And parents, my advice to you is enjoy tonight, enjoy tomorrow, take your last pictures, and then just go home and let go. The kids are going to be just fine. And students, you're about to embark on 4 of the most exciting years of your lives, so enjoy it and make these years really count. Thank you.
I'm back. All right. The next speaker and I have been friends since we were first-year students. I've had the fortune of meeting her when we attended Leadership Institute together more than 2 years ago. Yala Mueller is a senior majoring in International and Area Studies in the College of Arts and Sciences. Originally from Israel, she immigrated to Portland, Oregon with her family 5 years ago. In her time at WashU, Yala was the executive director of Strive for College, participated in the Carnival and Diwali cultural shows as well as the Vagina Monologues, and was heavily involved with the Gebhardt Institute for Civic and Community Engagement and the Anika Rodriguez Scholars Program. That's a pretty mouthful. It took me a while to get that. A Rodriguez Scholar, a Gebhardt Institute Civic Scholar, a fellow resident advisor, a dear friend. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you your student speaker, Yala Mueller.
Thank you, Kenneth. You are truly wonderful. How are you guys doing? Okay? Yeah. Esteemed faculty and staff, excited and probably very tired parents, siblings, family members, neighbors, and wiggy wiggy what? Making me proud, making me proud. Please join me in welcoming this year's class of first year and transfer and exchange students to Washington University in St. Louis. Now, if I remember correctly, you are all probably exhausted from a day of frantically moving in and target trips that pull you to the very edge of your capacity as a human being. Maybe you're excited, nervous, unsure, and very much confused. If you are anything like me and hailed from a school system that suffered from a severe lack of school spirit, you probably put in a good 4 years of missed opportunity into the past 20 minutes of learning and screaming cheers for a residential college you know nothing about. I know this is a lot, but the cool thing about Convocation is that the next time you will all be together like this will be at your commencement 4 or so years from now. So to start off the countdown, I wanted to share with you some of the things that I have learned and the questions I have asked since my convocation. Coming to WashU has been nothing short of a dream come true for me. I immigrated to the United States with my family 5 years ago, and the only reason I am here is because of the Anika Rodriguez Scholars Program. Shout out to all my Rodriguez scholars out there. Now, I found out that I was able to come to WashU one Tuesday in March in the middle of the women's locker room in the neighborhood gym that I was working at. It's a weird story, and if you'd like to be friends, I'd love to tell it to you one day. But for now, remember that there is no single path to WashU. You might not be able to guess what those around you have been through to get here. So when in doubt, ask. Don't settle for your own assumptions, as they will rarely substitute the truth. That's one of the most important things I have learned here. Now, what might be true for all of you, no matter where you come from, is that someone once told you that college is the best 4 years of your life. And whether that's true or not, and I am really hoping that's false because I'm a senior, I do believe that this is a special time and place as it holds a concentration of incredibly brilliant and passionate people to which you are no exception. I have learned as much from conversations with my peers as I have in my classes. And I have learned that learning can happen anywhere. And if you open yourself up to the stories of others, if you practice withholding judgment, you can have your mind blown constantly. This isn't me telling you to just step outside of your comfort zone. No, because being intentional about opening yourself up to others is hard and isn't expressible through a cliche. Opening yourself up means noticing the nuance present in many relationships at the same time, between yourself and the other, and between yourself and yourself. If I can assuage your fears, trust me, you will develop amazing relationships with other people. It'll take time because good things take time. I didn't meet my closest friends until my sophomore and junior years, and the one I did meet as a freshman didn't like me then, so it takes time. But I also want to remind you that it is incredibly important to develop a relationship with yourself. That may seem like a silly statement because you're probably thinking, I know myself, it's been 18 years of this. And while that's true, there will be circumstances when you will react with the old adage coined by the one and only Steve Urkel. Did I do that? Like something will happen and you will be like, where did that come from? What just happened? But that's okay. It is as important to learn about you as it is to learn Spanish, biology, and art history. You are embarking on a deep quest for self-awareness, and it will show up in a myriad of creative, funny, and interesting ways. What you may find will make you proud sometimes and disappointed at others. It is important to award yourself some grace. Not only when you don't do well on an exam or you feel like you didn't study hard enough, but when you begin to unpack the conscious and unconscious factors that make up who you are. One of my closest mentors at WashU once told me, it is always okay to show up perfectly imperfect, and that is certainly better than not showing up at all. I snap for her all the time too. While this adventure of self-discovery was about me in many ways, I quickly learned how much it's also not always about me. You see, you are now a member of Washington University in St. Louis, and what that also means is that you are now a citizen of the city of St. Louis. I urge you, if you are to make WashU your home for the next 4 years, glance over to the second part of our university's long name and root yourself within that as well. Think of it as a buy one, get one free deal. In all seriousness, I learned to forget everything I heard about St. Louis. Everything people told me about how there are good parts you can go to and bad parts you should stay away from. From my experience, there is no good and bad. There are only people, their hopes and dreams, and the systems that have brought them to where they are today. Ask yourselves about the deep divides you see. Make it your mission to learn and hear stories from the city's residents. Immerse yourself in this new place. It'll change you if you let it for the better. You are coming into a community where those before you have created a legacy. I remember the seniors and juniors when I was a first-year student who encouraged me to join movements, to speak out against injustice, to recognize the hurt and suffering of this city, this country, and this world. They thought critically and encouraged me to do so. They shook me up. They made me reconsider myself and what I was a part of constantly. They also took care of me and showed me what it means to take care of others. And that's the biggest realization I've had at WashU. Community is often a buzzword, But I think that allowing others to take care of you and stepping in to take care of others is what it means to be a part of a community. Taking care of people will look and feel differently depending on the circumstance. There will be times when you will have to intervene directly in a situation, and there will be times it simply means wading into the waters of your own discomfort, staying a while, and confronting yourself in a way that enables you to truly listen. It may not always be about you, but you will create an impact. Whether you are a first-year student or a transfer or exchange student, you are stepping into the legacy of the people before you, and I know you will shape it and mold it in a way where years from now, students will be talking about you. And in the spirit of community, parents and family members, I can assure you that your kids will be loved here. It will come from places you might expect and from places you might not. It'll come from their RA, who will offer tips for both Gen Chem and how to talk to that cute girl across the hall. From their professor, who will open their door to them for every intellectual conversation, hot dog sandwiches, that whole thing. From Miss Barb, who worked at Whispers, who will remind them to sleep and take care of themselves, always with an encouraging hug. And it might even come from Keith, a homeless man who hangs out with students around kayaks, who will make them laugh when they most need it. And as always, help will always be given at WashU to those who ask for it and need it. That was an adjusted quote from my unofficial mentor, Albus Dumbledore. Class of 2020, transfer and exchange students, my new friends, I thought long and hard about what my WashU experience boils down to. My professor, Bob Hansman, put it best when he said to my community building class last fall semester the following words: "Never be afraid of falling in love." It seems to me that in times like ours, with enough heartbreak and fear-filled rhetoric out there, it is important to challenge ourselves to act out of love. Despite the common misconception, love is not always easy. It causes us to stretch beyond ourselves, to include others, to grow, and it often hurts. But please, love without abandon. Fall in love with your friend who makes you smile from the inside out every time you see them. Fall in love with your biochem or Irish literature class because you walk out with more questions than answers and you don't even care. Fall in love with the way campus feels on a Sunday evening as the warm light of the sun touches you from in between the trees as you walk to the library. Fall in love with the bustling, challenging city of St. Louis and all of its residents. Let love change you for the better. So, to recap, get to know yourself, immerse yourself in the WashU and St. Louis communities, and act out of love. Welcome to the next best 4 years of your life. Welcome to WashU. Welcome home. We are so happy and lucky to have you.
Students are great. We have two great leaders here, and I'm going to make a small presentation. If Kenneth and Yala would come to the podium again, please. I have a symbol of what they're going to ultimately receive, which is Washington University's ring. It's a symbol of the tradition of excellence here at Washington University, and the ring, of course, will signal their ultimate conclusion as graduates here at Washington University. Kenneth and Yala, let this ring, or this symbol, because it's an empty box, be a reminder of all that you have been a part of here at Washington University and the great contributions you have already made. Thank you both very much. Okay. I sometimes describe our academic convocation as something between an academic enterprise and a pep rally. You've already experienced the pep rally component earlier, and now we're going to feature a focus on our academic mission. The academic enterprise at Washington University is overseen by its provost and executive vice chancellor for academic affairs, Dr. Holden Thorpe. As provost, he is our leader in the academic arena. He himself has been a distinguished academic leader for many years. Before joining Washington University a little over 3 years ago, he was at the University of North Carolina, where he was in the chemistry department and became ultimately chancellor of the university. He has done an outstanding job here at Washington University in many respects, and these include recruiting outstanding deans of our schools who are themselves academic leaders. He holds an appointment in the Department of Chemistry and in the School of Medicine, and he holds the Rita Levi-Montalcini Distinguished University Professorship. Please join me in welcoming Provost Holden Thorpe.
Thank you, Chancellor, and welcome everybody. How about Yala? Wow. Absolutely magnificent, Yala. Thank you. As the Chancellor said, I'm Holden Thorpe, and I'm the Provost of Washington University. And like he said, the Provost is the Chief Academic Officer, and I'm responsible for just about everything that will impact you when you're a student here at Washington University. And I do other things that I get asked to do from time to time by my boss, the Chancellor. And so when you think about it, that means that I have basically the same job as Chewbacca. So I can assure you that WashU will always be able to make the Kessel Run in under 12 parsecs. It's my pleasure to introduce to you this year's Convocation faculty speaker, Lerone Martin, Assistant Professor of Religion and Politics in the Danforth Center for Religion and Politics. Professor Martin joined Washington University in 2014, the same year he was named one of the top 10 pre-tenure scholars in American religion by the Center for the Study of Religion and American Culture. He teaches courses in American and African American religious history. Professor Martin earned his BA from Anderson University in Indiana and his Master of Divinity from the Princeton Theological Seminary, before completing his PhD at Emory University in 2011. Before coming to Washington University, he was Assistant Professor of American Religious History and Culture at Eden Theological Seminary here in St. Louis. His first book project, Preaching on Wax, The Phonograph and the Making of Modern African American Religion, tracks the role of the phonograph in the shaping of African American religion, culture, and politics during the first half of the 20th century. And for the students, the phonograph is a device on which you can play an enormous plastic disc that is used to distribute sound. Lerone currently chairs the American Academy of Religion's Committee on Teaching and Learning and serves on its Afro-American Religious History group as well. He has worked as a research consultant for continuing education and recidivism at New York Sing Sing State Prison and as an instructor at Georgia's Metro State Prison. And he is currently researching the historic and fascinating relationship between religion and the FBI. And he is a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Please welcome Lerone Martin.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction and the shout out to the Cavs. So to Chancellor Wrighton, to the deans, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, colleagues, parents, and friends. And certainly last but not least, the first quiz exam to give to the first year students and to the class of 2020. And that deep existential exam question is, are the first year students in the class of 2020, are you in the house? Congratulations, you just received your first A at Washington University. Enjoy it. You know, sitting here on the stage, one can't help but to be reminded of where I was and where you sit now. And it makes me think about my experience of my parents dropping me off and how they felt. My mother was nervous, so she sort of focused on getting my dorm room together, making sure the sheets were extra crisp. Everything smelled like bleach and Arm & Hammer or whatever else she could find. And my father, who's always been a man of few words, but able to really pack a punch with very few syllables. He put his arms sort of on my shoulders, and I was expecting to have this really heartfelt moment. And he looked at me, he pointed his finger at me and said, "All right now, boy." And he walked away. And my mother, bless her heart, she said, "Well, baby, your father's trying to say he loves you." But it made me think about your parents. This great cloud of witnesses that kind of surrounds us from the top, who've gone before you and prepared the way. So first, I want to say to the parents, not only thank you, but what a great job you've done. I want to say to the grandparents, aunts, uncles, guardians, cousins, brothers, sisters, thank you for sending your loved one here. You've done an excellent job, and we want you to know that we will look after your baby. Because we know that although they are here, they are college students, no matter how old they get, they'll always be your baby. And we want you to know that we're going to take care of your baby. That when your baby succeeds, we will praise them. When they stumble, we will encourage them. And when they forget who they are, what they are, and whose they are, we will remind them. So just want you to know that we will take care of your baby. To the students, it's been a long day, so I will not take my allotted 50-minute lecture time. I will keep it short. But I want to leave you with one word, just one. One phrase that I hope you'll be able to remember 4 years from now. And that is that at Washington University, we believe that education cannot just simply teach work, but it must teach life. Education cannot simply teach work, but it must teach life. W.E.B. Du Bois said that in the early 20th century, in the face of Jim and Jane Crow, as a way to think about how might America move forward for a more perfect union. And it seems to me that over a century later, that phrase, that maxim, that idea still remains relevant. That our education cannot simply teach work, but it must also teach life. And that education that teaches work and life, I believe, has three simple components. I think first what it does is that it teaches that We have leaders who are in their vocation leading the field, but also at the same time, there's citizens who are engaged in what's going on. Now here, there's no doubt, through your education, through the sciences, social sciences, and humanities, you will be prepared to be leaders in your chosen vocation. There's no question about that. The question is not, will you be the attorney you want to be, the physician, the lawyer, the scholar, the writer, the artist, the activist, the organizer. That's not the question. The question is, what kind of person will you be when you reach that goal? And so here to be informed citizens and leading scholars and luminaries in your field, we want, no matter what field it may be, to be able to recognize power and privilege in all its different forms. To be able to recognize and to understand how it shapes your very field, how it shapes your world, and how it shapes your community. This summer, Chancellor Wrighton sent us a really wonderful note reminding us in this community that research universities are preparing the leaders of tomorrow, but we live in today. So we must continue to be part of strengthening the community around us and work for social justice for all. That's what education that teaches work in life is all about. It's about being leaders in our field, but it's also about being leaders in our community. The second thing I think that this education and this perspective teaches us is how to be critical thinkers. Now we know that this critical thinking has been important here, both in St. Louis and WashU. The tech industry, for example, is an example of this, about how critical thinking has been brought about to solve problems, to bring new solutions. But critical thinking isn't just for the boardroom. It's also for everyday life. It's also in the classroom. And critical thinking is not pulling everything apart so there's nothing left, but it's engaging in critical thought with your peers and colleagues and doing so and practicing it in community. Community where, the classroom where you're going to passionately disagree. Get to the point where you feel your blood pressure rising, your heart pumping. That's what it means to think critically, to have your own assumptions questioned, to question others' assumptions, and to decide there that we're going to either agree or disagree. But then after that, we're going to go to the Loop, go to Pie, and go half on a pizza. That's what it means to think critically and be in community. It's not only to surround ourselves with those who disagree, with those who agree with us, so they simply sound as a chorus or an echo chamber of what we already think, but to really engage in these questions, both that deal with our majors and those that deal with life struggles about making this country and to perfect its union. And finally, I want to say that education does not just occur in the classroom. An education that teaches work and life realizes that education has to take place outside of the classroom. And you'll get that through our wonderful career placement office, through going abroad, internships with some of the leading companies and nonprofits in the country and in the world. But it also, education happens when you volunteer in the local community as well. This is where you can practice everything that you've learned on the ground, apart from just having smart theories in the classroom, but then applying it actually in real life, in a community in which you may know not much about, but you'll learn about. It's about learning in community, whether you join a group on campus or you go somewhere else to tutor students, to help those apply to college, to get where you are, whatever it may be. That's part of your educational experience here at WashU. And so to the student who's here, who has their entire 4 years planned out on your Google Calendar, I'd say to you, take time to enjoy the journey. Take a class that may challenge you. Take a class that you didn't think you'd be interested in. Take a class that's not on your Google Calendar, that's not in your 4-year plan. To the student who's not sure about their major, I want to say first that it's okay. Breathe. It'll be all right. And may you find your interest, your vocation, your major at the intersection of your passion and talents and the needs of your local community. And to the student who's here, who's been sleeping with one eye open, waiting for the admissions office to realize they made a mistake, to you I say there is no mistake. You're here for such a time as this. There are those who know a little bit more than you, who've been around a little longer than you, who've deliberated for a very long time, and they believe that you belong here and that you will contribute to this community in a profound way. So first-year students, class of 2020, this is the education that is set before you. And with your gifts and talents, passion, excitement, I want to thank you in advance for all that you're going to do to further the legacy of this university, which will have ripple effects throughout the country and the globe. And I want to thank you for making this place the place you've chosen to be for the next 4 years. So now, I've done my lecture. Let's see if anyone was paying attention. Are the first-year students in the class of 2020, are you in the house? There is hope for you yet. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you in advance for all that you're going to do for this community, and thank you for being open to all that this university will do for you. To Mom and Dad, thank you again. Continue to water the seed that you've planted here and watch it grow. To the class of 2020 and to the first-year students, I say welcome and welcome home. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Martin. As you know, this is a research university where learning and discovery are both vital. Here you will receive the gift of knowledge, and it is my hope that Washington University will illuminate the truth for you and light your path through life. To symbolize your illuminated path through your lives at this point, your parents are going to be asked to leave and literally light your path to the Brookings Quadrangle. The students will remain here and will ultimately follow the stage principals to the Quadrangle, where we're all going to enjoy a St. Louis treat, Ted Drew's frozen custard, and we'll have some music. Parents, you will meet your students in the Quadrangle. The next time that we gather together in the Quadrangle will be in May of 2020, about 3.75 years from now, when we have our commencement exercises for the class of 2020. I'd like to ask the students to remain seated, and the parents will be led by our coordinators to illuminate your path, which we will take in a few minutes. We'll have some music in here as we wait for the parents to prepare for their role. Class of 2020, there is a lot of evidence that Washington University students can be successful. One example is that we have approximately 130,000 alumni making great contributions all around the world. The Washington University Alumni Board of Governors is led by Mr. Robert Mullinger, who received his Bachelor of Science from the School of Engineering in 1989. He has served in numerous volunteer positions and is now chairing this important board for our Alumni Association. Robert Mullinger also serves as a member of the Board of Trustees. Robert lives in the San Francisco Bay Area and is the Senior Director of Product Integration at Omnicell Incorporated, a provider of automation that enables healthcare facilities to acquire, manage, dispense, and deliver medications and supplies. Robert Mullinger has an important message for you. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Robert Mullinger.
I didn't know I had an important message, so this is good to know. Thank you, Chancellor Wrighton. Actually, I actually have rehearsed this, but on behalf of the Alumni Association, it is my pleasure to welcome the newest members of our Washington University community. To the class of 2020, to our transfer students, and to all future alumni, welcome. As a WashU alum, I'm here to tell you that you are among the luckiest people in the world to be able to spend the next few years at Washington University. You will soon begin to realize this, especially 4 months from now, when you are back home over the holidays and you're itching to get back here as quickly as possible. The good news is that you join the WashU family not just for the next 4 years, but for the rest of your life. You now have the support of over 125,000 alums spread all over the world. Personally, Washington University alums have made a significant impact in my life. Without a scholarship support of WashU alums, I would never have been able to attend school here. There is no way for you to know that my father didn't go to college, that my mother wasn't from this country, that I was raised in the Hispanic tradition, that I grew up mostly in Mississippi. There's no way for you to know that. Seeing me standing here on the stage, my time here was because of WashU alums that came before me. WashU alums were founders of the first startup that I joined right here in St. Louis. WashU alum helped me build a strong relationship with the person who became a co-founder of the second startup that I was involved in Silicon Valley. My spouse and I have been fortunate to count many close friends as WashU alums. You are also now joining a community dedicated to the culture of giving back. The next few years that you spend at WashU will be with you forever, and I hope that you are able to both lean on the WashU alumni community for support when you need it and continue the tradition of giving back to future generations of WashU students. I know that you will meet people here that will make a significant impact on your life and for years to come. Tonight, I have the honor of presenting a special gift to the class of 2020, your own class banner. As you exit, yes, the class banner, right over here. As you exit this evening, you will fall in behind for the first time as a class on your way to the Brookings Quad. I'd like to introduce Tylee Zhuang. As you may know, or now will definitely know, Tylee was the winner of the Class of 2020 Logo Design Contest. Tylee is joined on stage by his classmate Tianshu Yang. Tylee joins us from New Jersey. And Tiangshu is from Nanjing, China. You probably know this, but Ty Lee is living in Chanling, Dalton, and Rutledge Residential College. And Tang Shu will be living in Thomas H. Eliot Residential College. Ty Lee, congratulations on a wonderful design. We're very fortunate to have someone as talented as you as part of the community, but I know there are many talented students in this audience. Ty Lee and Tang Shu, as you head to the Brookings Quad, I hope you carry this banner proudly and think about the remarkable journey you are beginning. You came in with your parents, and you will leave with your classmates. Whenever you get together as a class, this banner will be there. At the next time will be at commencement, but after that, at your reunions. And hopefully you will remember tonight as a very special beginning. To have come here tonight means you are among the most impressive students in the world. That is worth a clap. We consider ourselves lucky to have you join the WashU family. Again, on behalf of the Alumni Association, welcome. We wish you all the best that our Washington University community has to offer.
We have just a couple of things that we need to do. First, for a small number of you, those who are seated in the chairs on the floor, there might be a surprise for you in an envelope taped under your chair. Anybody have one? Okay. For each of you and a guest of your choice, for those who have that envelope and a guest you choose, I invite you to come to my residence on Monday at 6 o'clock, and we're going to have a bowling party. Yes, it's in my house. Okay. Now, we are going to make our way to the Brookings Quadrangle. You'll join your parents there. You'll see that they'll be illuminating our path. As you leave, some of you know that I'm a chemist. You're going to be carrying with you a chemical reactor. So please enjoy that. It's a little bit of a surprise for you, and it emits light. Please remain seated until the stage principals have recessed. Professor Lerone Martin and I will be bearing the torch of knowledge, and we will be proceeding to the quadrangle. So please remain seated until we process. So you go that way, I go this way, and we'll meet.